Hello! Hi everyone.
Oh, hey, how are you? Whoa. Hello, echo, echo, echo.
Oh, is there? Okay, okay.
No, there isn't. I had the YouTube unmuted.
Okay, if there is,
No, the YouTube. I had
maybe fixed.
YouTube. I was watching it.
Very nice, very nice, very nice.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, hello and welcome to the first of what will be a weekly stream for 2024 from the Chrono Walkers.
Mm-hmm.
But who are the Chrono Walkers? Who are these people? Why are they on your screen? It's a good question.
That is a good question. And this all started because a couple of years ago we just wanted to do some testing, right?
Yeah.
We used to do this back in the day, just talking about. Oh, look at that game right there behind you.
Yeah. Oh, wait, there you go. Right there. Why is it so hard? There you go. Anyway. Yeah, so no, this all started because we wanted to do some testing together. And eventually we were like, the natural progression of things, oh, we're testing together, why don't we start our YouTube channel? As people do, you know, very
That's
common
right.
on-ramp to making a YouTube channel. So I am Shehan Salgado, also known as Shehanigans. You may have seen me in the fan server.
Also known as a rules master.
Also known as the Rules Master by very, very few people.
For now.
For now. But yeah, I guess what I am currently to Genesis is I am on the rules team, which means I help with the getting cards to have their perfect text so that they don't break the game, so to speak, as well as working in the background on like the comprehensive rules document, and then a moderate amount of testing as well for cards as they develop. Yeah, so that's me. Who's this other guy?
Yeah.
Who's
So.
that guy?
So you're basically carrying the game on your back. I am Eric Lind. I am also a judge, actually. I passed my judge test. But I also was third place in the last championship back in 2022. And actually the only person to have taken a match off of the eventual winner. So I like to think, I kind of know how to play the game. But, do I anymore? No.
Who
Who
knows?
knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But
oh yeah, sorry, keep going.
well, no, I'm good. You're good.
Oh, okay,
Go ahead.
cool. Yeah, so what is the goal for these streams, these weekly streams? Well, we love the game Genesis TCG, probably more than we should, or maybe the right amount. Who knows? And we're jealous. We're jealous of all the other TCGs which have all these great and cool content creators making content for them weekly. So we want that for Genesis. So that's the first thing is we'll be talking about Genesis, the cool concepts and little things that make it different from other TCGs. Just kind of to share that interest with other people. Eric,
Yeah.
anything else?
And to inspire other cool content creators to make cool content as well. That'd be fun to see.
Yeah.
There was a not too many when we started. If anything, no, nothing really. Right? We were the first to do solely Genesis.
Yes, we are the first only Genesis.
Yeah.
A YouTube channel, though happy to note that we're not the only Genesis YouTube channel anymore. Hey, Imperial Pulls. And maybe more, I'm not sure. I don't know, but there's some other ones which use Genesis art now, so I'm like, are they also only Genesis? We have to do our research here, but we're the first, and hopefully not the only. Definitely not the only Genesis TCG YouTube channel.
Yeah, but does anyone else have a 3-hour 4-pack box opening?
That's true. Yeah, no one else has taken 3 hours to open a single or like half a box or one box of Genesis. For those who aren't deep on the Chrono Walker's lore, we cracked a box, and because we like hearing ourselves talk, as well as being part of like a little bit of the development of the cards, we took about a week and a bit to finish cracking the box because we had to talk about every card, including the comments. And we're going to be doing similar stuff for Metamorphosis whenever that comes out. And honestly, it's a good watch if you love like to learn about how cards develop. When they go from a start as a concept and all the tweaks and changes that they experience to get to the point where they're a card that's in your hand. It'll be a good stream to check out on whenever Metamorphosis comes out.
Yeah, and hopefully you keep doing those. They're really fun to talk about every single little detail about smallest card to the coolest one you have. It's really fun and interesting to like really deep dive into how the game is made, like what and why are cards good, what makes a good card, and what makes the game fun.
Cool. And of course, the final thing that the Chrono Walkers are about is world domination, like all YouTube channels. Eventually, we hope to be the voice of the people or something like that. Yeah. So what? That's all well and good. What are we talking about today, Eric?
Well, we're going to talk about everyone's favorite subject. It's math. And how
it is my favorite subject. Is it? No, science is my favorite subject. Okay, we're already lying.
math was my favorite subject. And see where it got me.
How can math possibly help me in Genesis? Is there even math in Genesis? Does this even use numbers? Like, I can't think
sometimes you might have to pay costs. You might sometimes you might have to hit things, to reduce the health from some number down to 0 or less. Exactly, addition and subtraction. But that's easy stuff, right? That's just kind of stuff that everyone already knows and has mastered 20 years ago, right?
Also true.
Because no one watching us is under 30.
No one exists who is under 30. That's not true. Did you know that what's it called? Shaun of the Dead is getting a re-release for the 20th anniversary of it, and I'm just like, no, don't say that. It's one of my favorite movies, and it's 20 years old. Oh
no. It's pretty scary. Anyway, on a not scary topic, let's talk back about math, right? So what we want to kind of introduce a non-scary and interesting way of using math to help construct your decks, right? Like, one of the cool things to, when you're building your deck out is taking your champion, and your champion kind of represents kind of like almost a canvas that you can paint a deck on. And it can be kind of fun to put some cards together and make something fun out of it. But how do we go from something that's fun to something that actually works and is good? Because that's what we want to help you make. And one of the easy ways is with math, and our goal today is to make it as simple as possible. And we'll show you how in a bit.
Cool. And yeah, to start us off with that, we're going to be applying this to one of the decks I made over the break, I guess, shall we call it, before we came back, and then what's it called? We're gonna apply it to that. If you're interested in other concepts, because we're just hitting one today, but we've done a lot on different ways to like design decks, or even just like find good cards that synergize with champions and stuff. We have a wealth of primers that are pretty good and worth taking a look into for all the champions of Origins.
Very in-depth champion primers that were quite difficult to make, but were really in-depth and pretty interesting. I liked I liked kind of going deep dive into them.
Yeah, we
And
did deep dives looking at the cards that made sense to pair with champions, and the cards that like are going to get the most out of the idiosyncrasies of the different champion designs from Origins. So yeah, if you're interested in seeing what those are like, then feel free to check out those. In the meantime, I guess that's enough about the past videos. Let's get into today's videos. So, if we shift over to this screen right here. So this is Gamilla. She's one of the champions from, actually, sorry, not Origins, from Invasions. But the thing that tipped my head was an interaction with an Origins card called Caustic Millipede. So before we go deep in that, let's just break down Gamilla. So we got a 21 health champion. We're in Phage and Axon. So Axon, best color in Genesis. Hope to be proved wrong as more sets come out, but probably still is the strongest, deepest color in terms of powerful spells and I guess
card draw.
Card draw, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a requirement for newer games with 5 colors to have the blue be broken on early sets.
Yeah, I mean, Genesis hit the mark, so there we go. We did it too. We've got 140 aura, which is very good. That is definitely on the higher side for a powerful aura. Like 150 is like the tip top. And then just a forward awareness and no energy. Our attack is nothing crazy to go on about. It's 140. Sorry. Our attack is just one heavy attack. It's at action speed, so not really part of getting in the mix. But that's okay because we have one of the most mind-bending and game-bending continuous abilities that's ever been printing on a champion called Unity. So, as you play a non-beckon ability, you may choose an ally summon. The ability is played from that summon as though it were you. All instances of you are replaced with that summon's name, and if that summon is destroyed with the ability still on the stack, you lose 1 health. So, basically what this means is, unlike every other champion in the game, all those spells and techniques that you use with your champion that are linked directly to just, things your champion can do, if it's a sidestep, dodge to the side, or a diving juke, or, can't forget Bolt Shot for 4 damage, area damage to 2 front spaces. It's going to be, instead, Gamilla can play those abilities from any summon that she has on the board. You still need to follow timing restrictions. Like action speed abilities still need to be played during a main phase, so you'd have to take a main phase. But just imagine running up some dinky little creature and doing a tsunami or an electrical storm, and you kind of see oh, there's some wild stuff that Gamilla can do. Yeah. Anything else you want to add on Gamilla?
Yeah, and it's going to take it's going to take a while for people to get used to it, just playing her and playing against her. But yeah, did you want to talk about the interaction between Caustic Millipede and Gamilla? Yeah,
so Caustic Millipede is one of the...
a good one.
Yeah, is one of the marquee, I think, cards of the Origin set, in terms of, there's each color is getting big haymakers at the top end, and this is Phage's one. Green's color, that is Phage's green. So it's an 8-chi, 6 health, forward awareness summon. So already, we're in, the heavy hitters range, 6 health is more than enough to tank a couple of hits, and that awareness is great for dealing with things and not getting hit back. We've got a 16 aura beckon ability, which is very cheap for where we are. Our attack is a swift range electric attack 4, so it's a little low right? Like we're used to like, you know, your Angel of Retribution, right? 6 damage. But it is still range, so it's going to be able to deal with aerial summons. But the big deal is the decay ban trigger. So if anything is dealt damage by Caustic Millipede that does not have decay, then they gain decay for the rest of the game. So this is I believe, the only card in Origins that gave decay permanently to anything. So you hit the enemy champion. If they're at 20 health, you knock them down to 4 with the electric attack. Or sorry, not to 4. You knock them down 4 with the electric attack to 16. Now they're on a 16-turn clock. If the game goes 16 turns, they're going to die no matter what.
Guaranteed win, some might say.
Guaranteed win, as long as they don't kill you first.
Yeah.
But,
so I would like to say, you know, one thing to keep in mind, and we'll talk about the actual math of it later, but do not underestimate the mental damage that this can do to your opponent. They will do everything in their power to not get hit by this. It is one of the scariest things that they will see, and will they'll run away, they'll make bad plays, and try to escape it, and or send everything they can to kill it just to not get hit by that attack.
Yeah. And that also means we can kind of self-correct in our head the what's it called? The 4 electric attack to functionally a 5 with a delay at least. Because if you hit something with the attack, at the end of the round, it's going to take 1 health. So that's basically a 5. So we can think of it as 5 damage. So it's a little lower, which explains why the ore is low, but that's really, really cheap. And that is basically the centerpiece of the interaction that I wanted to build Gamilla around, because all the damage techniques, the tsunami that you play through Caustic Millipede with Gamilla, Caustic Millipede doesn't say if anything is dealt damage by Caustic Millipede's electric attack. It just says if anything is dealt damage by Caustic Millipede that does not have decay, then they gain decay. So like you do a warp strike, you do just like a Caustic Millipede does a right hook. Like that's all it takes. It inflicts a decay brand. So that immediately got my gears turning in my head. I was super excited and I wanted to build a deck around this. So
yeah.
Let's take us over to, or not take us over, let's look at the full deck I built and do a little bit of time discussing that. So this is where I ended up. So let's just walk through all the cards we've got here. Starting in the top left with our 3 cheese. So we've got a mind reading, just a single mind reading, which says, if someone is adjacent to you, then you can see their hand. Or if they play with their hand revealed. Incidentally, you can put this on a summon and have the summon run up with Gamilla specifically, but I mean that's not probably the way I put it, but it's just a solid 3-chi to have a couple copies in your deck. Then we've got some defensive cards in block. Infectious Wound is maybe a fun card to talk about. Actually, maybe I'll actually even pull that card up to talk about right now, because it's kind of like a funny maybe thought process on Infectious Wound. So let me just grab that quick. That was in that was in this one. So,
yeah. And so I just want to say that you do see quite a number of defensive cards here, right, in this deck, which is a good idea because you're trying to defend your big creatures, your big summons, right? And you can play those cards through the summons to kind of help them out, like defend the big summon type deck.
Yeah, defend the Titan. So
defend the Titan. Yep.
If you're newer to Genesis, Titan is a deck archetype that's been around for a while. It's basically I have a big thing and I'm gonna hit you with it, and then having some cards to protect it. And it ended up being the deck that won the last championship. Was a Titan deck built around Angel of Retribution, a very strong evasive flyer, with multiple layers of protection already, and then playing cards and using your own life resource to protect that angel in the Titan style that Oliver took the championship with. But yeah, Infectious Wound, it's on the screen now. So this one's a funny one. It is a 5 energy 1 attack at 4 chi, which is, well, 50% of the damage you usually want at 4 chi, because a 4 chi usually does 2 damage. Your attack abilities of the 4 chi is what we're usually going for. However, it's got trigger Decay Brand. When Infectious Wound deals damage to a permanent without decay, that gains permanent gains decay as well, and also for the rest of the game. So this is an invasion, so I wasn't wrong when I said Caustic Millipede was the only card in Origins that gave permanent decay. But Infectious Wound is another card that permanently gives something decay, starting that 16 turn clock guaranteed kill on your opponent.
Well, this is the 20 turn clock, right? Because it does 1 damage, not 4.
Yes, this is the 20 turn clock.
But yeah, it's an interesting card to have one of. Yeah, because the second one sucks, right?
Yeah, the second one sucks, but the first one always gives permanent decay to something. So it's like it's infinite damage. So maybe you always play the first copy. So that is why there's a single Infectious Wound in this deck. Quickly going through the rest, we got Innovative Cover and Shield Bash, more protective stuff. Reform Position is another... I can pull that one up, actually. That is another card from Invasions, which... one of the more interesting ones that works really well with high number of summon decks. Or like utility spells and techniques with great awareness, because this lets you pitch in the late game cards that you can't use because you're low on aura, so or whatever, and then to move it a spot in the discarded card's awareness. You see, it costs 3 energy, and throwing away another card. We've got that discard card symbol that was introduced in Invasions, and yeah, just another sweet movement thing. It always kind of, at the very least, it's going to give you, with most summons, the ability to move to the position in front of you. And then with other cards, who knows where you can move to.
Yeah, with Tsunami, you can move anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Tsunami, right? I mean, no one plays that. Yeah, they do. Everyone does. Next is Chained Carver, which is a card I love from this current set. From Invasions. So this is here in this deck because one, it's just a solid summon, right? It's 4 chi for 2 holy attack and 1 health at 13 aura. That's pretty reasonable. And then aside from that, at quick speed, that's pretty reasonable. There you go. Yeah, because you're not gonna, obviously, like, it doesn't come unexerted. It's not got blitz, but it can just be popped in, and it's pretty reasonable. But it also messes so much with the enemy, so it's kind of something to provide a distraction because it brings in a Ruined Sculpture. So a Ruined Sculpture is a alteration that says whenever a champion plays an ability on or adjacent to Ruined Sculpture, they discard a card. So the kind of the goal is you can just kind of dot these around the map up in front and just put them where the enemy has to deal with them, and it puts a lot of pressure, especially if you've got like your Haymaker out, like, which would be my Caustic Millipede as my Haymaker. But even without that, it's like a lot of time delay, because this deck is very much an A plus B deck, right? I want to pull off a combo of Caustic Millipede and then playing spells and techniques through my Caustic Millipede. So
the combo of playing Caustic Millipede, yes.
Yeah, the combo of playing Caustic Millipede and then making it scarier. Yeah, Ruined Sculpture is a great way to delay and buy time for that and just mess with people.
Yeah, it's like an area control in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's nothing better than making your opponent unable to do anything, right?
Yeah. And speaking of the fact that we're an A plus B deck, no A plus B deck that has access to Axon is going to be happy without dedicated studies. So running 6 copies of dedicated studies, which is just its card disadvantage. What? Is that even good? Well, yeah, because of the cheese system in Genesis, playing a card that puts you down a card but lets you filter your hand and convert those weaker, more conditional cards into just your powerful punches is just great and fantastic.
Wait, hold on a second. Those are Origins dedicated studies? Where's your Alpha and Beta dedicated studies? What's going on here?
This is
built in
TTS. Unfortunately, Alpha and Beta is not on TTS.
Wow.
Continuing on, we've got Evade.
Wait, so you can build decks in TTS? Wow, that's really cool. Yeah. Can you play there too?
Yeah, I believe there's weekly tournaments on TTS being run on the fan server. Is that true?
It used to be true. I don't know anymore.
Yeah, I thought what's it called? By Tavern Brawlers. Yeah. They run is it TTS? I thought it was TTS. All right, well, I hope I'm not making that. I hope I'm not incorrect about that. Anyway, let's bring Eric back.
Yeah.
Eric back.
No, don't bring me.
Anyway, let's quickly wrap up this deck. So the last card that I guess is a big one to talk about here, in the composition of this deck, because there's a lot of copies of it, is gonna be Warp Strikes. Let me just quickly pull that up.
Oh, confirmed. Tavern Brawl is still offering monthly tournaments online via TTS.
There you go.
Welcome, North of Exile Games.
Yeah. So let me quickly pull up Warp Strike. Where are you, Mr. Warp Strike?
Warp Strike, one of the best cards to come out of Origins.
Yes, I love it so much.
An amazing card. Is it too good? Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. I just know that I love it. It's a 5 chi. Maybe it should be 6 chi.
So it's too good. Okay, gotcha. Thanks. Yeah.
It's got a
especially when you can
cost.
play it.
It's got a reasonable cost. But,
yeah, no, it's not cheap.
9 aura and 5 energy. You move to one of the left, front, or right spots. And then if you move because of Warp Strike, then you deal.
No. Hold on. You don't move to a left, right, or front spot. You move to a spot adjacent to a target in one of in one of those spots.
Yes, you move to a spot.
So it's even crazier. You can't get blocked in. Well, you can, but it's very difficult.
Yeah, it's very difficult. That's if there's someone in all of those three spots, then that's potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 locations that you can move to. Yeah. And then if you move to a spot because of Warp Strike, then you deal 3 damage to a target in Warp Strike's awareness. So as you can imagine, this is just a 5 chi solid, both defensive and offensive card to get my little bap someone with the hammer that is Costum Millipede and start that decay trigger. Then just to round it out, we've just got Tsunamis there. Just a very good on rate 5 chi, 3 damage to the 2x3 awareness, which is called the Tsunami Awareness, I think, by most people because of how ubiquitous this card is. And then some fun ofs here, which is I've got Picornavirus, which is the electric brander, to share with the electric damage of my Caustic Millipede. Paneradon, which is a summon that very
you might be biased about.
Or I may be biased, but it's a summon that if it deals damage to a summon, then that summon is exerted. So basically, it can steal a turn from a thing if it can activate and go first. And it's got a good awareness to hit without being hit back. And then Pretty Bird, which anytime it deals damage to an opposing player, it steals a card and lets you play it until end of turn, which is a reasonable thing done by reasonable people.
Yes. similar to Caustic Millipede, that is another piece of mental damage.
Yes.
This will make your opponent just concede half the time.
If you take something.
Uh,
And then popping to the bottom left of my picture, I've got 5 Chrono Walkers because I'm not allowed to make a deck legally without including some copies. It's also just a fantastic set of stats. It's a 3/6 for 17 chi, and this card is, you don't need us to tell us how good it is. People have been using it for ages.
17 chi? Maybe it's balanced then. Okay.
Or 17 and then, of course, my Caustic Millipede, and then instead of the I guess 6th Caustic Millipede, I put in 1 Epiphany, just as like card draw. This is very much a fun deck. It's not super tuned for like trying to be cutthroat and, you know, like be a, well, what's the terminology? A murder blade going to, you know, take down a tournament. But it was a fun concept that I had a lot of fun putting together.
Okay, so you had a lot of fun, right? I can tell you had a lot of fun because you had a lot of funos in your deck. Like, what is this fun of nonsense you're going with? Where's the optimization? We're supposed to be the guys with optimized decks, and you're putting these funos. You got Picornivirus. Where's your electric damage? You got Panerodon. Get that card out of here. Pretty okay. We can leave Pretty Bird in there. That card is a nice one-hit combo. An Epiphany. One Epiphany. One Epiphany. What is going on here? They let you have 4 of them, you know. But yeah, no, we can't be having these funos in our decks.
Yeah, we need to fix this deck because I'm putting something enjoyable onto the internet instead of something
optimized.
So,
yes.
Eric, how are you gonna fix my deck?
All right, so yes, I will attempt to fix this deck, but we'll have to start somewhere. Okay. And like we were talking about earlier, we were gonna fix this with math, right? So we're gonna see if we can do that. Probably not, but we can at least try.
All right, so then I guess Eric Lind, form of a spreadsheet, go. Anytime now, I believe in you.
Oh, you can see me? All right.
But it's still you. You haven't turned into a spreadsheet yet.
Oh. I'm sharing my screen, so I think that's on you.
Let me check my Discord camera. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you were right. It was on me. All right, form of a spreadsheet. There we go. Bingo, bango. Goodbye, Eric. Lost forever, but we got a spreadsheet back.
Math, yay!
Okay. Oh my gosh, what is this? This is scary. What have you got here?
Hey, Damien, how's it going? Yes, you just came in at the best time. We get to talk about math and numbers and spreadsheets. So this is a really important thing, and I'm actually going to share this at the end. So try to help people when they're building their decks out. But one of the things about the Genesis that's really interesting, right, is that you have limited resources. So this is a way to try to optimize those limited resources. And so we see here, we have put Shehan's deck in this little thing that I've made. You have the deck list here. You see it has 17 individual cards with a total of 50. And a total chi of 250. So it's a legal deck. So he doesn't have to disqualify himself. Yeah, he knows math.
I wasn't cheating when I went to play Damien.
But I would say, you know, just off the top of my head, 17 maybe a little bit too high, and you know, we saw too many funos earlier. So, well, what are we gonna do about it? So what this deck does, and you know, if you were to get your hands on this, you can put your deck in here as well, and it'll spit out a aura per card and an energy per card. So this is basically saying, what is the average number of cards? What is the average aura per card I have in my deck? And what is the average energy per card in my deck? And for the very astute, you'll notice that this energy per card is not the actual energy per card,
Yeah, I
have
was
to
doing
take
some
into
quick
account.
maths in my head, doing some quick averages,
Yes.
and it felt a
Yeah.
little
Well,
off.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, you see, yeah, it's just I said simple math, right? It's not that hard. We had to incorporate the every turn you're drawing a card, right? Which means that every card technically has a minimum energy of 1, except for the first 6 you draw. So that's included as well. So don't. I hope no one tries to get a gotcha on me. I thought of this. So then we see estimated cards played. So you can play about 15 cards with your aura, or about 16 cards with your energy. And you have an aura turns of 9, energy turns of 10.4. What this means is how many turns, if you were to play every single card that you drew, would you run out of aura or energy in your deck?
On average, yeah.
On average. And so this is a way to try to mathematically say, try to optimize your deck, because you want to think, when do I want the game to end? For this type of deck, this is maybe a little bit of a longer game, a deck that could go a little bit longer, especially since you have
threats that I'm
the decay. Yeah, exactly. You have threats with protection, right? So you can afford to move back a bit to maintain board control. And then you also have the decay. So like the longer the game goes, if you just hit them once, you can just win the game. So maybe you want this a little higher or lower. And so what do we do with these numbers, right? So we had to think, how long does the average game of Genesis go? The current consensus is what? Like, you think 6 or 7 turns?
I think 6 or 7 turns is going to be the maximum, of a typical Genesis game. The very fast decks
4 to 7,
4 or 5, but I think on average, I'd go around.
So actually, David, you played Adiris, right? Right. So you would know what's the fastest game you ever played.
Yeah, let us know in chat.
But so if you're looking for those 4 to 7 turns, then maybe these aura turns and energy turns are too high, right? So that's something to think about.
Yeah, and if we're thinking about aura spent, is literally like if every aura is equally converted into power that's being put onto the table, then if I need 9 turns to play out all the aura that I have accessible to me as a champion, then I'm probably even if I win the game, I've left equity on the table because I haven't played as much power and I haven't been interacting with my opponent as much as I could be if I had higher costing cards, so to speak. Like, I do like Caustic Millipede only costing 16, but I need to add maybe more aura to get the aura turns down and play more. I can play more powerful cards and not be worried about running out of resources.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing to keep in mind is this doesn't take it into account card draw. So that's definitely something to think about when you're making your deck.
Yeah, because like obviously you're not going to be playing all the dedicated studies if like you're happy with your hand, right?
Yeah. So I mean I remember when I was I made that Bazin deck with 4 Epiphanies. I never wanted to play more than 2, because if I played more than 2, then I would run out of cards in my deck, or I'd run out of aura. And so you need to, it's something to think about, and this requires testing. But this is like the first thing you want to do when you're trying to optimize your deck, and then the testing part comes, and then then you make it better.
Yeah, and for those who want to know, that's the Bazin Wormstrike deck that we built just before the championships, a couple months before the championships. Way back when. So that primer is still on up. I would recommend throwing in some Chained Carvers in the 4T slot, because you'll be very happy with how those interactions work. But that deck is very fun to play, and I highly recommend checking it out.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you need Emergent Worms, the Harlequin starter deck has 4 Emergent Worms.
Wow, the steal.
Yeah, was that 4 Emergent Worms just for buying one starter deck? That's a good deal. Um, cool.
All right, so
Okay, so we've established that this deck needs to come down in aura turns and energy turns, which basically means I need more expensive stuff.
mhm.
So how do we do that? Let's switch back to our not that one. Our face stream. There we go. We'll turn Eric back from being a spreadsheet into being a person again. There we go. Hey, welcome back, Eric.
Oh wow.
And
I felt like I had the whole world in my head right there. I knew everything.
And yeah, let's talk about, I guess, some of the cards that, because we did prep work, imagine that, and we adjusted this deck. But there's kind of a couple directions you can go for playing this deck, or for adjusting this deck to be, a well-tuned machine, or at least get some upgrades going. So the first card that we're going to talk about is, I guess, maybe a card. Oh, hold on. Or is kind of two cards, I guess, which is going to be block and innovative protection. So let me just pull up block for everyone to see. There it is.
Oh wow, that's crazy. You have the new cards have the names at the top, so you can actually see what they are when you're laying them all out. Wow.
Yeah, I love that change. All my love too long ago, but I love being able to lay out cards and see them. I tried to do it so that everyone can see the names of all the cards here, but I think I messed up with one. But anyway, block. So this one is just like a defensive 3-chi. It's 5 energy. Prevent the next 2 damage dealt by target and blocks awareness this round. It's honestly, that's pretty sweet. That's pretty good. Like preventing 2 damage off of 3-chi, even with a limited awareness. The thing about the Gamilla deck is, or this deck especially, is players are very used to, hey, that summons exerted, I'm going to run up and punch it in the face. It can't do anything to me. So having defensive cards that are defending from the front is actually completely fine, because like people are so used to being able to just freely run up and hit things. They're not used to thinking that I'm going to have to flank something that is already exerted. So block actually does some good stuff, but there's a small problem with it in that the 5 energy that we're paying, I mean, that is taking into account the fact that block has a breakthrough trigger. If damage is prevented by block for the first time, then draw a card. Unfortunately, because Gamilla says that you are playing the summon, or playing the card via Gamilla, you're playing the card via the summon. Gamilla is playing the card via the summon. The summon would be what gets the breakthrough trigger, and summons don't have a deck, and summons can't draw cards. So I'm paying the 5 energy off a block to prevent the 2 damage, but I'm never gonna be able to draw a card unless I'm using it to protect Gamilla herself. So that's one small non-bow, and then that same non-bow shows up in another defensive card I've got, which is innovative cover. So innovative cover, I'm close to saying that this is also still a fine card for the deck. It's, again, we're playing for a breakthrough trigger. This one's 7 energy, but I mean, my energy turns are high, and it's defensive 3, but just check out that awareness. That's the warp strike awareness. Like, there's synergies with like reform position. But yeah, the frank of it, like, there isn't an analog for this. That's a part of the thing with Genesis being, I guess, a newer game with fewer sets, is you don't always have a card that you can just swap out for every card. Like, I would love if there was another defensive card that protected forward, left, and right that I could just slot in. But innovative cover is so unique in that. Hey, design team, if you're watching, hey, give me innovative protections with some other benefit that isn't drawing a card, so I can play it in my Gamilla deck. But yeah,
Yes,
so
that's what
there's
they
a...
want. That vanilla be playable.
What? What's wrong with that? So from so that those are the cards I guess to talk about for mistakes I made, air quotes, in building my deck. But in taking a look, we found some other interactions and stuff to look at. So let's bring up Excruciation. So where is that one here? Oh, there it is. Excruciation. There we go. Bringing it to the front. Excruciation. We got 14 aura, left and right awareness, and it deals 4 dark damage to everything in Excruciation awareness at swift speed for 14 aura. And then we've got a trigger. When an enemy is dealt damage by Excruciation and any champion has one or fewer cards in their thoughts, look at the top 2 cards of your timeline, put one on top of your timeline and one on the bottom. Again, that trigger doesn't quite work because with a summon, because they don't have a timeline. But this is leaning into the swift damage, because we've seen that I've got all those chained carvers for some instant speed interaction. This is basically like build your own emergent worm, right? Except it's 4 dark damage. What's the downside? It does damage to everything in your awareness. But the power of this, you can play it from Gamilla. You can just run up a tiny dude that you don't care about into the enemy team, pull off an attack, and when they retaliate, or if they don't, you just do an Excruciation. And then hit.
Yeah, and also Warp Strike puts you in a position for this to hit, also which is pretty convenient.
So this is a card that we liked for the concept, and it's expensive on aura, but as we saw from the aura turns, we've correctly identified that this deck needs more aura spending and more energy spending. So this is one card that we liked.
And we can throw away the Paneradon for this, right? Get that out of here.
Yeah, get rid of the one-ups. Another one, and this is like another card that is kind of so strong that it's almost ubiquitous, is Called Shot. Do you want to talk about this one, Eric?
Yep, Called Shot should be probably in every deck that you make. It is crazy efficient at 5 chi and 4 energy for 3 damage. It's better than most affiliations 5 chi damaging cards, and it just feels so good just have that in your hand when you're playing. Put 3 to 5 copies in every deck you make, and you won't be sad about it. And this also helps out with the caustic millipedes, right? It's another way to get decay from them. Like, you play it and it's exerted, and they're like, "Oh, I'm fine," and then just boom, Called Shot.
Yeah, because it's not a non-bow that the awareness lines up with my main damage dealer, right? Like that means if my main damage dealer can hit someone, then I can also use a Called Shot on them as well. So yeah, surprise, I guess, 7 damage plus a decay trigger on someone. Like, what's not to like about that?
Yep. And just in general, general removal, never a bad idea to have.
Yeah. Next card to talk about is Defensive Pose. So this is just, we're just going to embarrass me on stream, but what else?
As opposed to other streams?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So Defensive Pose. So this is a 3 chi, prevent 2 defense, prevent 2 damage defensive card with a better trigger that doesn't non-bow by trying to draw a card off a summon. So this is a card I completely missed while building the deck. I grabbed Block from Origins instead of Defensive Pose, and then when we're looking to adjust this deck and try and tune it up, I discovered, oh hey, trigger, when you prevent damage for the first time with Defensive Pose, you may deal 1 damage to a target in Defensive Pose's awareness.
Yep.
So
just strictly better.
Strictly better. So yeah, never let it be known that the Chrono Walkers are afraid of putting egg on their own face, because there we go. First stream of the year. I completely missed that this card existed.
That's okay. Most people did.
Yeah, and then now we are coming to maybe the saddest, um, I guess, potential upgrade for this deck, and that is Violent Bimant. Oh, he's a little small. That doesn't seem right. He's a big boy. Let's make him bigger. And this is largely like I built the deck around that Caustic Millipede interaction, but in looking at the data, right, in looking at the aura turns, like I need to get more efficient and get more value out of my damage dealer, and aura is a good way to just kind of pull this off. Oh, I'm not dissing him. I'm sad that this is like the entire core conceit of my deck is worse than just playing one Violent Bimant. Because
Hey John, how's it going?
you know what's better than dealing 4 damage and 1 decay trigger a turn? Just dealing 6 damage. Because that just accelerates faster.
It just is, yeah.
Yeah, so that is the unfortunate. Though, admittedly, as Eric was mentioning earlier, we lose the psychological damage aspect of the deck.
It's better than Angel.
I mean, I'm right with you, right? Because, like, I mean, Angel has amazing awareness, but I love Violent Bimant. I mean, Eric, why don't you talk about Violent Bimant? Because you have taken him actually to some what's it called? Some
the tournaments.
Yeah.
Professional, yes. Yeah, I mean, I ran a Violent Bimant deck. It was quite good against the Angels. I think. So one of the reasons why Cosmic Millipede was basically never played there is A, Phage was weak, but B, Aja Tiger kind of came out of nowhere, right? And kind of tore up the scene. I know I was, and so Violent Bimant was basically like a better version because it didn't actually kill the Azure Tigers, right? Your Caustic Millipedes, even if they were to hit the tiger would still deal damage back to them. So even though he's saying it's 4+1 is 5, which would kill a tiger, you're still taking that damage. It's delayed trigger, so you still take the damage. But what's going to happen more often is they're just going to go 2 Azure Tigers, kill your 8 chi for free, and you're going to be sad about it. Violent Bimant, it could die in the same way, but A, it would one-shot those tigers, and B, if you're Kato, you can save it. Is it better than Angel? I don't know, because Angel actually won the whole thing, so, you know, who's to say? But I only had 3 in my deck. Yeah. No, they really are. And I think the reason why the Angels won was because Aja Tigers basically prevented other decks from being able to compete. Like, there's so many Aja Tiger decks that they just shut down just the non-Angel decks, right? Like, what was the top 4? It was like 3 Katos, right? And a Angel deck.
Yeah, I think that might be right.
And I think we were all doing some sort of Tiger build. I think I was the only one with Bimance. But anyway, so it's a very good card. It's a little cheaper than Angel. It can be played in any deck. And it's just like that 6/6 is really, really strong. I guess the one thing you have to consider now is, yeah, right? Yeah, that's right. Kato should have won. I agree. Is the aura cost, right? So Caustic Millipede is actually really cheap on its aura, and that's a huge advantage, especially if you're talking about some of these lower aura champions, which Galmanilla is not. So you have the aura to play around with, right? It's almost 40% increase in aura, but you can just kill something, right? Like, you don't have to wait. You just play it and just boom, they're dead. You lose out on the mental damage, but you do gain the overall advantage, I think, especially against 2 better players that understand math. Yeah, I think with a better build, Kato could have won that, right? Like, I don't think, like, I personally didn't even consider Angels when I was testing for that tournament, so I had nothing really for it. And I think that was a huge problem, because everyone was thinking about that bolt shot Nubia deck, and we had kind of all forgotten about the Angel Nubia deck.
Which was the first Nubia deck, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess.
So yeah, I like this card.
Yeah, no, and I like it too. And it is the aura turns that tips mine now to be like, okay, I'll give up my caustic millipedes and try and shift over to having a violent Bimance. But one more card to talk about before we, I guess, show what we kind of landed on for the final deck and look at the new analysis is Picornavirus. Because, I'll just make him a bit bigger there. Yeah, look at that. What a handsome fellow there. This is definitely another direction that we could have taken in the deck, leaning into the electric damage, right? Like getting that electric brand, like using a warp strike or a called shot when you run up with your Picornavirus to get the electric brand on, so that you always guarantee to get 4 damage off your 6 chi summon, and get the brand before it needs to hit. So like it's like the it feels like lore wise maybe a bit of a silly interaction, because it's like, okay, I'm gonna hit you with something else to give you electric weakness, and now I'm gonna hit you with my electric attack.
Well, it makes everything it does, right? It's
yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, and so I think this is what we were talking about earlier when you're, kind of painting a canvas or whatever with the deck. This is a really cool interaction, as well as it's kind of a similar interaction to the Caustic Millipede. You went one way with a Millipede. This is a way which we removed because there's no real synergy with it with the deck. But you could have gone this way, and that's a cool interaction to kind of build around, and that would be kind of fun to do, right? And so that's where the fun lies when you're trying to build decks, and hopefully someone does something like this. That'd be fun, like a full-on electric deck with Gamillo, where you have the Picornavirus is just getting the brain on things, and it just makes it so you hit it once, and then everything else does 1 extra damage, right?
Yeah.
And if you have 1 damage things, now they're 2 damage. That's 100% increase in damage. So that's that could be quite good.
I mean, this entire in Origins, this entire set of bugs, Vidutas, which can be made by things, and they're all dealing 1 electric damage.
Yes.
And yeah, just to talk about Picornavirus up a bit more, 16 aura, right? That's just 1 less than Caustic Millipede, but it's at 6 chi.
No, that's the same. That's the same.
Oh, it's the same. It's the same as Caustic Millipede, but it's just 6 chi, and it's got a sick awareness as well. Like it's not got the forward bit, but it's like arguably like more protective against bolt shot, for example, right? You can put someone in the edge pieces of that V awareness. I don't know what to call it.
I mean, you're being silly. They're just going to Chrono Walker out of there. Come on. What do you think?
Yes, I love. Yeah, John, I agree. I love the awareness on these guys. That's just because like these V awarenesses is just like, yeah, another layer of protection. I'm gonna hit you, but you can't hit me back. Those who've been playing for longer remember the horrors that are Giant Scorpion before future and more sets came out and more cards with that T awareness. That is like, where can I go to be safe from Giant Scorpion? That's the neat part. You can't. Like, it's basically the entire board. Cool. So I think with that, let's switch back to Eric form of a spreadsheet and take a look at I guess the last thing for today in terms of this theme and our what we landed on. So let's just do this. Oh, look, it's Giant Eric JK. We're gonna look at a spreadsheet. Hey.
Yay.
All right, so Eric, I guess talk us through the changes here.
Yeah, so as you can see, we kept the original cards in, but we added the extra cards that we were talking about earlier. So we got rid of block. The innovative cover we still have. We need to dump that card at some point.
I still like the what it provides, but yeah, we don't have an analog for it, so maybe you can stick around.
Yeah, John, get on that. But we took out these one-ofs that were not very fun for me, and then we made it a little bit more consistent. So now we have the 6 Bimance, we have a little bit of called shots, more. We have the side steps, just like a little bit of adjusting, and we went down. So we actually, if we look here, we had 9.09, 8 point, basically very little has changed there, but the energy turns went down by almost 1.5, a little bit. So that's just a little bit of extra tuning to try to get your numbers down as a way to uh, a way to improve the deck a little bit. Um, and so this is just like the first step, right? This is something to look at, especially since this has not taken into consideration card draw again, right? We still have that dedicated studies. We did take out that one epiphany because it was having too much fun. Maybe at one point we want to add some more in there, but for now, dedicated studies, they do go through your deck pretty quickly. And so maybe your energy turns a little less than this, but remember, average game is going to go to maybe turn 7, so
yeah,
they should be okay.
I think one of and
they're
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say there are ways to calculate the aura energy turns with your card draw, but we're not going to go into them today.
Cool. Yeah, one more thing I think I wanted to talk about, because I think we managed to dodge it. Is where is it? Oh, it's not there. Okay, let me just get.
Well, there is one thing. Is this a finely tuned, optimized deck list? What do you think?
No. Obviously not. No, this is not the final form. This is where like you've made some changes to your deck. Now it's time to do the like this is the easy part. Now's the time is to do the hard part, which is actually playing some games, and iterating. So this deck is not finalized, but I mean I'd be comfortable to say that definitely on energy, it's going to be a lot more, or rather, I'm going to be using my resources more effectively.
Yep.
We brought in some side steps as well, so I can hold on.
Yeah, and when you say effectively, remember if you end the game with more than 0 aura or more than 1 card in your deck, or more than 1 life, you weren't playing optimally. Right? You got to use everything as a resource.
Yeah. Okay.
And also, John, we were talking about innovative cover, that one, that can block for 3 with the triangle that doesn't draw cards. So Gamilla has a better card to play in that spot.
Yeah, we just want what's it called? We want to innovate cover that does something else so that Gamilla can get some benefit. Because I still like this because it doesn't just the left forward right awareness, right, at 4 chi, and then protect, like that's a lot of damage protection, but Gamilla can't use the card draw, unfortunately. So
well, her summons can't.
Yeah, or the summon. Yeah, Gamilla can't use the card draw through the summons. Yeah, but save Gamilla. Axon champions need help. But yeah, one card that I think we neglected to talk about, which also made it into the deck, is Sidestep. So let me just quickly find that. Where to go? Begins with an S. That was
It's not in Origins, right?
It's not Origins. Was it Rays?
No. It's Jalara 2, I guess. That's where I got mine.
It's got Kun in the original art. Okay, let me just quickly do library. So it's got to be in Rays because it's got Kun sidestepping. There you are. Cool. So this was one of the cards we used to increase our aura turns, or decrease our energy turns and be less efficient, but more efficient per game in using our energy. Which is just a solid movement. Yeah, like what's there is like move to the left or to the right at swift speed for 6 energy. Like just a good card, a solid role player.
Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind, right, is that Warp Strike is right there at the same spot, and we have some Warp Strikes, but that costs aura, less energy. So you this is a way to instead of just like pumping your deck with like 10 copies of the same card that's just better, now you can try to maybe mix and match to try to get your costs and adjust those so that you can kind of optimize it, because it's better to have a card you can play than a better card that you can't play, right?
Yeah. If you're staring down with no aura in your from your champion, then sidestep definitely looks a lot better. Cool. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that kind of deep dive into aura turns and energy turns and how to tune a deck or to take better advantage. Something we haven't talked about is you definitely want to try and line up them. So like the fact that our aura turns and energy turns of the deck are much closer to each other is also a great thing to do with your deck. And this can be applied to any deck. It can be applied to, you know, like your cutthroat, I'm going to win a tournament deck. It can be applied to, hey, a fun deck that you're building, just to see that you're taking full advantage of everything that you've been provided with, right?
Yep.
For the game.
I still remember, you know, when I was building decks early on, before I really knew what I was doing, and I would like either win or lose, usually lose, a game with like 80 aura left, right? And that's bad. You know, you don't want to do that. It's fine to spend your aura, as long as you spend all your aura before the game is over.
Cool. So yeah, I guess without much further ado, that was the Chrono Walkers stream for this week. We'll be back next week. What are we gonna be? What's our topic for next week, Eric? What are we doing?
We have a topic for next week.
We do. All of them. We're gonna talk about all of them. All right. Well, all the champions have been revealed for Metamorphosis. So
that idea.
We are gonna be doing a not quite a primer for all of them, but we're gonna give some brief talks about what you know each champion excites for us and what cards we want to play with them, and just like things that jump out at us for all the champions that come up. So that'll be a good stream to come and watch, and hopefully people will enjoy that too.
Yeah, we're not doing a tier list just yet.
Well, I mean, there's no cards. All we have is the champions. We don't have any cards for the set. We could do a tier list, but it's just like, I mean, I'll leave that up to you, Eric. If you want to do a pre-card tier list, and then
we'll do a tier list based on how excited I am for each champion. How about that?
All right, an excitement tier. Okay.
Yeah. And then hopefully do a full champion tier list with all the new champions when all the cards are revealed. That'll be fun.
Yes. Once we have all the cards of Metamorphosis, we will definitely.
We'll have no data on anything from Invasions or Metamorphosis, but we'll still make very accurate judgment calls.
I mean, it worked out last time. For those who don't know, our primers surprisingly called a lot of like the strongest decks and strongest cards from the set. So
it wasn't surprising.
Either it's really obvious what the good cards are in Genesis, or maybe we actually know a little bit about the game, which you know, I don't know which one people think is true. But yeah, if you've been enjoying the stream, please like, share, and subscribe. And then I guess we'll see you, I don't know, same time or 7 p.m. Next week. Eric, what do you like?
I mean, we'll probably talk about that at some point and announce it later.
Cool. So either 6:30 or 7 p.m. Next week. But cool.
But yeah, that was fun. Go math. And we'll see you in the arena.
Yeah, leave a comment if there's anything you think we missed talking about on this kind of aura turns, energy turns concept. Because we'd love to start off next week's stream by being like, oh yeah, here's another great point brought up by a Genesis fan. All right. But with that, thanks for coming and joining us, and goodbye.
Peace.